Can't hear them. They're asking.
Oh, very good. All right, well, if you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute yourselves. And okay. So your robot lockup form, make sure you guys are checking that out. Your whipping allowances, which is how much part of your robots that you can leave out of the bag when you bag your robot up. Bag unbagging between competitions and your bill of materials. So that you guys take a few minutes to look at the notes from last week. And also look in the robot and tournament section of the manual for all of the exact rules on all those. Just please remember that we give you guys in this phone call is meant to help you guys, but the rule book is the final rule. So if you guys see something that is contrary to what we tell you on these calls, please feel free to let us know so that we can make it for future calls so that everyone is on the same page of the rules. Robot questions. Any problems that anyone is having, any questions that you might have, and all related to the robot, please unmute your phones and ask now.
Hi, this is CT5650. I just want the roll to have a line on. Is that correct? To show that it's
yes. Right.
Right.
Okay. Does it have a kill switch on it for the to deactivate the robot?
It's supposed to have a breaker, 120 amp breaker that's on it. This is kind of like a kill switch, so they're pressing that breaker and that cuts off battery power to all your systems. It's not necessarily for the judges or the field crew. When you're on the field, the e-stop will basically electronically stop your robot. But in the case that something and that doesn't stop the robot, yes, the field people will use your bridge. So it has to be fairly easy to access on your robot.
I believe that when you go through inspection, they'll give a sticker that says main breaker on your robot.
Yep.
And you'll have to put it right near the switch so that your person will know where it is. So make sure main breaker, it's a little square thing, a red switch on it that came with your kit of parts from the electronic components. When you came to a workshop, it's one of the things that you would have wired up. It's called the main breaker. So that's your kill switch for when you're working on the robot. That will cut off and turn off all the power to your robot.
Yeah,
while you're not on the field.
Yeah, you should have wired into that. Your one end of your Anderson connector for your battery should into that.
We had under plate now, because we've been putting our hardware for our lifting device for the toes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you put your hand under the plate, and my question is that satisfactory? Or do we have it located so that it's like right on top where it's easy to get to?
How difficult would it be to relocate it?
A bit at this point.
Okay.
We made ours under a plate last year or 2 years ago, and they made us cut the plate.
Yeah, this is Kyle talking. Diddy, we have, if there's a student in the room, send them out and have Dale come in, because Dale is an inspector and he could give us the opinion right then. It's my understanding that you have to be able to reach that, or that kill switch. You have to put your hand in the robot to do it. They are not going to like that, because the idea of the kill switch is it's a great go. It's done. So, but another point I want to make, Brandy, did you cover inspection at all last week?
Inspection is not one thing that we got to.
Okay, because I just want to take two seconds now while we have the chance. Am I too loud, or am I okay talking line?
You're good.
Okay, I'm at home, so I don't know what this sounds like. So everyone should really go and find the inspection sheet, and they start going through that right now before you're all done. This is a perfect example why. On the inspection sheet, I'm almost certain it's going to say that the kill switch, the breaker, is easy to access. In case you need to know that now, you don't need to go another week or 10 days of building and then find out that you've got to redo the whole thing. So find the inspection. We will put the inspection link in this, but if you, again, don't wait for us. Online, find checklist, and have your students, have a parent, have whomever start through that. And if you understand what it means, send a question to any one of the four of us, and we can reply back to you. But at least then you'll have some idea, come the end of next Tuesday, whether you're even going to pass inspection. What you do is get to the tournament and then find out that you have 8 things that are technically incorrect, and they won't let you on the field. So the checklist is super important right now to go through. We're fortunate that one of our mentors joined us, and he has been an inspector, I don't know, probably the last 5, 6, maybe 7 years, and he approved for all the tournaments we're going to now, so that helps us out immensely. And we ask him all the time, is this allowed? Is this not allowed? Is this fair? Is this not fair? If he has any discrepancy, he either calls and asks someone else, or, he tells us if he has a question, then we shouldn't be doing it, because that means someone else is going to have a question with it. So look inspection checklist and start going through that, but I almost am certain that your breaker is going to have to be able to be reached without under anything or through anything.
Yeah, it says on the inspection. Dale tonight.
Text him and see. He says maybe he can get back with me before the end of the call.
So on the list, it's on the inspection checklist. It says a single 120 amp main breaker must be accessible and visible for inspection.
There you go. Accessible is the key.
So you have to reach in or under something in the robot that's probably not going to work.
Right.
Okay, what was that? Run accessible and what?
Able for inspection. Per rule 8.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jake.
Check sheet found, is it in the competition manual?
It's actually online. I just put a link on the agenda. But it's a manual page on the FRC site. Bottom under game manual, there's inspection checklists that was updated, I think, Friday. Or 6th.
Okay.
Thank you, Jake.
Awesome. So we have really great questions. There are a little questions that we have.
Gee, you were spot on. I just went and got it. Very, very easy. First website, go to Give Manual. The last link on the bottom is the inspection checklist, and it's right there. Okay, I'm going to use.
All right, any other robot questions?
A bit about bill of materials.
Yes.
I saw this. So, area, split bill of materials. So I think you can kind of use whatever you want. We use a little bit of a different one, but they have one available there. Pinch to fill. Also need that for inspection too.
Don't try to use the checklist that's on First Michigan's website because it's 2013.
Bomb or the inspection checklist?
First Michigan website is from 2013.
The first website that Jay was guiding them to also has inspection bill, the bill of materials template on the bottom. It also is a little bit higher if you need an additional lockup form. They have them there as well. So that's a helpful page if you haven't already taken to it.
Can you stick that link in the notes?
It's on the edge notes. Agenda.
Right, I'll try to.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
No one else has questions on the robot. We're going to go ahead and move on to team management tasks. This is where the team kind of shifts a little bit from working on the robot to you got a week in between do. Well, a lot of the things that are list are things that require lead time that you guys should be working on before the event. To make sure are your uniforms on the way. FERC does not require you to have team uniforms so that all of your students are alike, but it's really a great thing for you guys to have because it will create an image for you and help other teams notify you who your team members are and identify, team rough, the guys in the yellow shirts or the engineers, the ones with the face on it. It's for other teams to know. And if your uniform is not on the way right now, you guys might end up paying quite a pretty penny to expedite them. You're going to want to check with your person on their uniform. One that from the engineers, from experience, when you go to distribute your uniform, we sort by students. We go to our local Kroger and we say, hi, we're robotics team. Can you guys donate some plastic grocery bags for us so we can distribute our uniforms? So the students' names on the outside of the bag, and then we write either their names or their initials on the tag of their shirt before them in the bag. This is a super grueling process, but it has worked in the end. This is a great job for a parent if they're looking for a job. Do this because at competitions, if you have 30 students on your team all wearing the exact same shirts, I guarantee you they are going to end up in the stands, in the pit, in a decile, and you will have no idea who's to lose, and people will lose their clothes. So on them, and that will help a lot.
And if you are planning on collecting the uniforms and you don't want to put the names on, we have small buttons made. They're just little teeny 1-inch buttons. We put them and they have to button it on the inside of their jacket. So if we find their jacket, it's got their name in it and it's just adult. So saying we have kids that are constantly losing things and we go home and we got it out by size and now we just have it their name tags.
I've never thought of that.
Yeah, we got
I'm on the line, by the way.
What?
I'm on the line.
Okay, volume down, please. All right. Another problem that we ran into is students picking up uniforms for other students and losing them. So the two girls who runs on the team, one girl picks up both of them, the other one doesn't know it, now she has to show up in the uniform because the other one picked it up and left it at home. So actually, what we do is print off a roster, and they have to initial next to their name when they pick up their uniform, way that we prevent that from happening.
This year, because we're getting all new uniforms, the students have to sign a uniform contract and have warm-ups, which are kind of expensive. They're going to actually have to put a deposit down for it. So if it gets lost, or just they forfeit their deposit, but they will inventory, that when they get their bags with the uniforms in it, they will get the inventory and then they sign it. So the parents have to sign off too, saying this is what they got and what condition they are at the beginning. And then the parents have to sign off saying it's in the same condition, or they will forfeit their, their deposit. And, please understand, our team has been out there, this is our 19th year, so because we can, we budgeted for it. It took us about 4 years to raise enough money to do this now. So this is not something that you want to do. What you want to do to get started is really make sure that you have common shirts for the kids on Friday and Saturday. So minimum you need at least 2 shirts. It's fun if you can, but if you can't, 2 Friday and Saturday shirts is the minimum of what you need.
Their team actually distributes uniforms and then recoat them at the end of the year.
Yep, they sign them out and then they wash them and return them at the end of the year. And if they're finished, they have to return them. So
I'm assuming they keep their T-shirts, but it's just the jacket and pants that they have to return.
they have to keep one T-shirt because we roll the other T-shirt into next year's stock. So when we have new students, they get a previous year T-shirt, and it just seems to work this way. So they get to keep one T-shirt only after the season. But we do spirit wear, so if they want other stuff, they can buy it on their own. But
Okay.
we not to have to raise money every year and then just hand it all out and then have to raise again. Plus, if you uniform, then you can use it really from year to year. And the only thing that changes really for us now is going to be the T-shirt.
Cool. See, part of their team fees, on the team, 50% of it goes to purchasing their uniform, and they get to keep everything. So they get to keep 2 T-shirts, a dress shirt, and a hooded sweatshirt every year. They have the choice of whether they want to keep them or them with another team in competition. So has a tradition last day of World. They trip, and on the way home, everyone wears one of the shirts that they traded.
Oh, that's
Our team's quirky tradition, whatever.
the seniors, because they have stockpile in their closets. The rest of the kids don't have enough yet.
Yeah, we do like cheap shirts, or we do parts and stuff that we make for trading. So people buy extra shirts if they want to trade them on our team. So I never ever thought of that. So, is anyone about team uniforms? So we move on to awards. If you do need to chime in, we're going to go ahead and move on so we don't run out of time today. This is just a reminder to you guys about the online awards submission deadline. Our Woody Flowers is the 12th, which is the day after tomorrow.
It is
So
it is June. Don't miss the deadline. And if you really encourage your team, they don't know what they're doing yet because they're brand new. But it's encouraged to look up and nominate, a member on the team who they think has gone above and beyond. It's a way to say thank you, and that's the easiest way to say thank you. They write an essay, they turn some 6 fantastic things. It's a really awesome, cool thing.
and it makes you feel really special.
Yes, it does.
That's for Mentor, the Entrepreneurship Award. If you guys are feeling ambitious, if you have a good business team that wants to submit for the Entrepreneurship Award, you have to business plan submitted by 12. The Dean of the for all you mentors out there to nominate up to 2 that are sophomores or juniors that would exceptional leadership and out of your team on the 19th. So for these are included of the criteria of words is listed in the words manual. Make sure you guys take a little time to check that out. Kyle, I'd like to go ahead and Jason, go ahead on what to expect at competition. I gotta go take care of Lucas really quick.
On Thursday, the most important thing that you can possibly do is get into your pits and have an inspector, get your robot on the, you have to give them the paperwork and if the robot is unbagged. The next thing that I would suggest you do is it's ready for inspection, go get it started. If not, do whatever you need to do to get inspected. But you really want to do everything you can to get it inspected on Thursday evening. I say that if you have any help, if the returning and veteran teams want to help you, this is the thing about Michigan, is that we want you to play. And if you play, then we get to play more and we get to play harder because you're ready. If you're ready, then we have to wait for you, and so why can't we help you get ready? And that's kind of the way it works. So we can to help you get ready. If you need anything, come find either Clint, Brandy, Jason, or myself, or whatever team is there that's a veteran team. I've never known of a veteran team turning rookie ever. In fact, I think the rookies are all like, oh my gosh, you guys are so helpful to whoever team. I've heard them say it to other teams. So I said this earlier in the season, I'll say it again. The only time that you complete ignorance. After this, your second year, you are expected to know what's going on. So at that point, your second year, you can't play dumb. This year, play dumb, get the help you need. It'll help you get there faster, and then you're up and running. And then you get to have some fun. So inspection as soon as you can. Practice matches is inspected. You is ready. They will go on and start cycling into a first come first served lineup for matches on the field. I said you're really inspected first, and the playing field must be ready. If the playing field's not ready, you can sit and wait all day, but they're not going to run any matches whenever they think that it's safe, it's ready, and it's calibrated. You need to, Jason, are they going to need to calibrate their robot?
If anybody's using a vision camera, but they do leave a portion of the time, I believe on Thursday night, to calibrate your cameras to the field lighting. That would be to do that. But how many people are using camera for vision tracking this year?
Okay. Other than like flash their whatever stuff and make it all happen. So
yeah, there will probably be some type of a radio flash rate so they can get on the field with the MS. I believe.
Typically, what you need to do is you'll need to be able to take your radio to the scoring table, and the TA there will encrypt your radio for the competition. So what it's going to do is it's going to make it so that only your driver's station, only the field can get a robot. At that point, you are not going to be able to wirelessly connect to your robot. You'll need a tether from that point on. So we'll need to take that out there. They'll usually make a couple of announcements saying that you get your WPA keys or get your radios encrypted. The sooner you can do that, once again, the sooner you can go on the field, because you can't go on the field until you have that encryption. So that's kind of one of the things probably after and when you get inspected, something to do early on, as soon as you can, because otherwise they get the other radios ahead of yours and yours in queue, and then the program will program them all. So.
Mike made a really important point, and that is that once you get into the competition, you should not ever be running your robot wirelessly anyway, unless you're on the field. You always be tethered. So make sure that you know, sometimes we come in from home and, oh man, and we're not thinking straight. You need to know that you are tethered. Period.
And when you tether, I highly recommend you take connection from the robot radio to the D-Link, leave the connection alone, never unplug those two. right? Leave those connected. When you plug into an extra port on the D-Link to be able to download code or test things in the pit. The reason that is you don't want to keep unplugging the robot Rio or D-Link and then forget to plug it back in. You set your robot on the field, it can't connect to the field, they say we don't know what's going on, we'll match without you, and you don't move just because the wire was never plugged in properly. So leave those two connections always plugged in, never unplug them, and I'll use the extra ports on the D-Link to tether your robot.
So point two, so when we're talking about tethering, you're via an Ethernet cable, like Clint was saying, so you want to try to have a fairly long Ethernet cable with you, a 5 to 50-foot Ethernet cable with you, so that you can add that to your driver station on like the practice fields, be able to still test and do practice or not really practice matches, but have time on the practice field in between your normal matches.
Yeah, I think a 50-foot Ethernet cable that always stays on our robot cart. Robot, so if you ever need a tether, we use that cord. But the smaller it is, the more difficult it is to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And no, once you get inspected, there is going to be a practice period, right, Clint?
Normally.
Yep.
So you're going to be able to go over and practice the practice field. Now, please understand, and these guys are talking about this right now, you're going to be tethered. So when you practice things on the field, you're going to be tethered. Practice with a long enough cable that you're not going to, yank it out of your control station. You're not going to do anything crazy. You don't want to be so close that you can't, test what you need. So for safety reasons, make sure that you have a long enough cable. And you don't come find a team like ours or Clint's and just say, hey, can we borrow a long tether cable? Because most likely they cannot.
And for the practice field, most likely what you saw maybe at the first kickoff, whatever your teams went to see, that's probably what the practice field is going to consist of. It's going to probably consist of 1 to 2 with the new section on top, maybe one scoring platform. It might not be a full-length one. It might be only the end cap and the middle section. And the last thing that they'll probably have at least a small section of is the step. So you have a full practice field or half the field. It's only going to be about the size, a quarter size of the field.
Once you practice time or you're, you've been inspected, you realize, now this is another key thing, and I have to tell you, it took us a long time to get into this mode because we were always retired, we didn't care anymore. But when the pits are open, they're game to work on your robot. So both on Friday or Thursday night when you get there, you have fair game time to work on your robot. All day, any time to work on your robot, in between your matches, whatever. Saturday, you get to work on your robot. Now, on Saturday, you're playing in the afternoon, but if you're playing in the afternoon, you miss working on your robot. So that just because other teams are playing doesn't mean that you can't still be in there working on your robot. And mention too, after the matches are done, you go open for about an hour. As long as they're open, go ahead on your robot. And that's the part that we used to always, we bagged it up, forget it, let's go. Well, this is really crazy. Why aren't we working on the robot during this time? We need this. And so, at Michigan State last year, we took full advantage of that time. And at every tournament that we went to, we take full advantage of the time after the to do whatever we need to do, and then make a checklist that goes in the bag with, the paperwork that says, this is what we need to do next if we run out of time. Because of the guide, when you open up the robot in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, for some of you it might be 5 weeks, for your next, you're going to get there and you're going to go, what the heck were we doing? But you'll have a list for you ready to go, and, it has your starting list of what you need to continue to work on. Really just, all right, so you're guaranteed 12 matches according to our notes. And so it's a wonderful thing. That's crazy. That's a crazy fun number of matches. So realize that you may not have a lot of time in between matches to fix things. With 12 matches, just be prepared to have to make a quick decision. Maybe you have to buckle something down to get back out there. Maybe you to partners and say, you know, what do we need to do? If all you can do is move, good, that might be bad. If all you can do is move in a circle, that's not good. So maybe they're better off not having you on there. I don't know. You really need to talk to your partners. 12 matches is just a match after another match after another match. So, you know, at some point you may have to make a critical decision. It may be better for you to pull out and around, fix what you need to have fixed, and then go back in the next round. But if you say you have to send students out to the field, right? Clint, that will pertain to us.
Yes.
If their robot doesn't work, as long as they send representatives to their team, they're fine, right?
Yeah, you passed inspection.
Right.
Ensure that you pass inspection. You pass inspection, then at that point you can send students, a student, at least one, to represent the team. You still get credit for that match. Nothing happens in it. So, you know, if that match without you, the team scores 20 points, well, you get 20 points added to your cumulative to determine your average. So you send someone out there. If you don't send someone out to the field, you'll be considered, I think, I don't know if they call it disqualified, but you won't get credit for that match, and you potentially now have a 0 instead of that 20, and that hurts your overall average.
Yeah, make sure that someone's always going out, at least your 2 players ready to go, and they are on deck all the time. And then, you know, the other people working on the robot, you just really need to communicate. Communicate with your partners. They need you to do is to drive circles on the field. I don't know. You need to talk with partners and find out what they need. Let's talk about the playoffs.
So what's going to happen in the afternoon is they're going at the end of all the qualification matches, they're going to rank everyone from 1 all the way down to 40. Ranking is going to be determined by your average score. So they'll take all of your match scores, and that's what your alliance makes, right? Sum them all together and divide.
In 5 minutes.
Oh.
Morning.
Okay. Yeah, Brady's going to sign back in. I can't talk anymore because I felt my eyes do something. So.
So playoffs, again, so you take the average, or take all your scores, total them up, divide your 12 or whatever number of matches that you have, and after that, the top 8 will be ranked. So then, right on Saturday, they'll go through the alliance selection. So they'll go 1 to 8, and they'll choose a partner that they're going to play with in the playoff matches. So 1 choose basically anybody in the list. They can choose 2, they can choose 5, they can choose 40 if they really wanted to. Whatever one complements their robot the best. They'll go from 1 down to 8, and then come back from 8 to 1. So 8 will get 2 picks in a row. So 1, they you'll win your playoff matches, and I believe first round get 2 matches in the quarterfinals, and so the average score out of 2 matches of the alliances re-rank them, and the top 4 will head into the semifinals. So for 3 matches, you'll play 3 matches in that format. Then the teams, those 4 teams get re-ranked, and then the 2 alliances will play finals and a best 2 out of 3 match. So the high score out of match, best 2 out of 3 will determine the winner.
like I said, you are guaranteed in the semis this year to get 3 matches, and make it to the semis. And the other note is, this new configuration, that means that the number 1 alliance and the number 8 alliance could each other in the quarters, in the semis, and finals, and make it all the way to the finals to face each other to see who actually wins. So then a different way on than what you see in a typical 8-person bracket. The other is about being selected. There might come a time where you have your team has an ability to stack totes or move containers or do something special. And the alliance captain might pick someone else that doesn't have those qualities or traits. And I usually think they're picking them because they're for something like that. You know why an alliance captain is picking that team. They might have other ideas or things they want that team to do differently than what your abilities are. So, you know, people who are alliance captains, they've earned that position to be able to make the selections that they pick, and it's great to be able to do that. So please try not to get offended if, you know, someone does make it in there, but who knows, your team might be the one that gets picked over someone else too, so you never know.
Yep. So be prepared, especially if you're in that, if you're at 9 through 15, 16 range, be that you may move up and become a picker too, to be picked. Like you've got an robot that's special. No problem. If you have an aspect of your robot that's special, and another team sees it and that complements them well, you may be a pick.
We're going to be going next week. That's one of the main topics of our call for next week.
Yeah.
So we'll know quite a bit about how to scout a competition. So keep in mind all this information that Clinton and Jason are saying, because that's going to come into play a lot next week.
Be open to what alliance captains might ask of you to do. They might ask you to modify or change something in your Auton code or physical attribute of your robot. I would say try to be open to it, because the captain, you know, they want to win the event. They want to do the best they can and score as high as points as possible, and they have some different concepts that work together as a whole rather than just individuals.
Point, Clint. I think that, you know, I wish we could say that to routine teams too, because there are times where, like Team Russia has been picked, we go in knowing what we can do, and our alliance captain might look at us and say, all I want you to do is play defense. And that's the alliance captain. They call the shot. Now, I say, well, I don't necessarily agree with that because this is what we've been able to show, and this is what our data, you know, proves. And sometimes they don't that, and sometimes they do. But you talk about it first, and then if that's what they said, nope, we want you to do defense, then that's what I do, and I do it my very, very best. They picked me because they had a reason to pick me. And if that's what they want me to do, then that's what I'm going to do, because that's what my job was in order to best suit this team. There are times where, you know, we've had to bring a team, and we look at them and say, the reason you was because you can do this. Maybe you best Auton. We're picking you because of your Auton, but what Auton's done, get out of the way and let us play. You know what I mean? That may be what happens. It's just, as Clint was saying, if you pick, make sure you listen to your alliance captain, and you do, you know, you don't know, say, tell me what to do, because they know what the reason that they picked you and what that reason is. Now, if you get into a position where you are a there that you have data on these other teams and you know what you're picking. If you just pick 2 other teams because they're rookies and sweet-looking robots, so the kids are really excited and fun, good with that. You got to make sure that you have some sort of basis on how you want to play the game and what team would complement your team. We'll talk next week.
Yeah, at the end of the competition on Saturday evening before we're going home, they do this gigantic awards ceremony, and they got a ton of awards. awards is listed in the, section 6 of the administration manual. You guys can kind of take a look. I mean, they give out everything from team to, a step to All-Star, which we'll talk a little bit about in a second. The awards will be given out in competition. So, the award is kind of long. It probably takes 45 minutes for them to give away all of the awards. But it's a real thing. I highly suggest, even if you think that you will not win the award, stay at the end. I can't count the number of times that I have been in an award ceremony and they call the team that's won and they've already left. So stay at the end. You never know if you're going to end up winning an award. It'll be great for you to stay and pay homage to the people who have won these awards, because you never know, not you at a competition, it could be you at the next competition or years down the road. There's that many questions on the awards that are given out, besides our award, which we'll cover. All right, so what we're going to talk about is the Michigan State Championship and why you should start saving money for it now. It is $4 to go to the Michigan State Championship for just one event. So if you guys are thinking, wow, we just saved $5,000 to go to 2 events, thinking about this stuff, it's paid $4,000 to go to the Michigan State Championship. It's a lot. It's held in a gigantic venue. It's totally worth it. Of the teams in Michigan, 102 teams will qualify for the Michigan State Championship. This year, what do we have this year? 18 districts. The rookie team will be selected for the Rookie All-Star Award each event, and each of those will qualify for the Michigan State Championship. Start getting money now with hopes that you will end up being one of those lucky Michigan State or district Rookie All-Star Award winners. Additionally, to qualify for the Michigan State Championship, it's in rank order, so the top 100 teams will qualify for the state championship. So if you're wondering how I'm going to pay for this, if you've got Michigan Department of Education grant, you might be able to talk with your school's accounting department and see they will write a PO for registration fee, because when teams receive grants, first will be a PO to your registration fee. If you have to be a General Motors team and you qualify for the Michigan State Championship, the registration fee is flat out for you. They won't even write you a check or anything. They write straight to first. These, the Michigan Department of Education grant or the GM team grant is available to you guys. Since you're going back to your sponsors that you already have and asking them for additional partnerships. You know, it only takes 500 renewals for you guys to be able to pay for that. So consider that. Because it's super duper quick. But the first weekend in April is a long time away, but when you're raising $4,000, it comes up super duper quickly. And additionally from that, if after the Michigan State Championship, at least one, maybe more, I'm not sure since they're probably getting, how many rookie all-stars are moving on.
The Michigan grant does cover that too. The recipe.
Michigan Department of Education grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is with that Michigan Department of Education grant, they give it to you in 11 increments. So they take $1 grant if you qualify for the Michigan State Championship and spread it over 11 installments. What you have your school do is write the PO for the entire amount first, and then your school will just take on those 11 installments instead of writing one check.
I think that last year our district was real leery about the Michigan Department of Ed grants, and 1/3 now they are just for next year for you guys. They now say, okay, we got the money, we know it's coming, it's not a big deal, and so they would write. I mean, like they told me that I think we only got $3,000, Randy. Veteran team for expenses, I think, plus the coaches fee. But so they're already writing a check out of it, even though it's not all there yet.
depending on what your school's budget is and how large your school district is, they'll work with you. Some schools will be more willing than others, but talk with your school if it's worth the chance to ask if they'll give you guys the money, because it really can be very, very helpful. So look for the first championship. If you got the Michigan Department of Education grant, you will give a supplemental grant for the first championship also. You can kind of go through the same process. And you know whether or not you're qualifying for the World Championship until Saturday of the Michigan State Championship. By that following, like Monday or Tuesday, if you are to the first championship. So to have it in your mind ahead of time, to say, if we receive an invitation, will we accept it, yes or no? Kind of have that in your mind starting, because it's another $5,000 plus travel to go to the first championship, but it's a blast. And to be able to say that you went to the World Championship as a rookie team is something that I should be so proud of. It's a top first, and if you guys are going to go to the whole Michigan district system to qualify and run the state to go to nationals, if you are those teams, then you deserve it, and you should try to find a way to go. Your community will probably come out and support you guys tremendously. I know when we were rookies in 2008, we qualified, we had a drive, and we raised almost enough money to pay for our trip, asking local businesses and residents of our community to donate to us, and it was amazing what happened. So you guys should put that in kind of forefront of your mind of how you're going to pay for MSC if you qualify and how you're going to pay for the championship if you qualify.
And I want everyone freaking out thinking you hang up on the call tonight and think, oh my God, I got to raise $9,000 more and I've got to raise lodging and this and this. Just put in mind, you got to build a robot first, and we understand that. We're just saying, don't rush it. It's very possible this can happen. What I do want to also say is on a very nice note, is to find out that you can go to the World Championship. You know you have no money. You contact Gail and you let Gail know. There are anonymous donors all over the place that will provide some money to help teams out. But as you said, if you make it far and you're keeping your community in touch with what's going on, I know of many teams that have not been able to go because of funding, even when they find out one day and have to let person know the next day. We had some people on teams as backup last year. Some chose not to go because spring sports were in the way and their kids, they just couldn't do it. And the team might get called in. Well, they've got 4 hours to say yes or no. And they made it, and they did it. So don't let that become your overall panic right now, because it should not be a panic. It's there. It's very possible, and we hope anyone on this call, we hope all make it to states and worlds, because we have tremendous success rate with rookies that are on the call. They get the position, they know what they're doing, they know how to ask for help, and get where they need to go. So keep that in mind. This week you guys talked about the SBC, or the SBCHs, as teachers call them in the state of Michigan. But reiterate that again, if you are a coach that's a teacher, and you signed up for your continuing ed hours, you can get super robotics. If you want more, just email me. It was all this past week, I believe. I've already signed up. You get it's a number of hours based on the number of hours that you put into it. So you keep track of your time on like a time sheet, and then you submit it. It's really cool. It costs $2.50, and it's worth it completely. So get yourself registered for that, and if not, you will to recruit some teachers in the by telling them that they can get some continuing ed credit just by doing that. So you might get some more help that way.
Okay. Week we talked about your competition volunteer requirements. If you weren't on the call last week and are on the call this week, understand that for every event that your team attends, you have to send 2 volunteers to help run the competition. A lot of notes And there are a lot of links in the notes last week, how you have to use to volunteer and who volunteer, all that stuff. But please, you guys do have to send to volunteer. Sure that Gail will be sending out reminder emails here very, very soon. But parents that are on your team, if they themselves or they have friends or family that volunteer, you do not need to have technical expertise in order to volunteer. Don't freak out that part.
I just saw something, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we were talking about volunteers. And then, in this, when we were talking about what to expect in a tournament, I tell you, don't forget your paperwork, because you get there and you don't have your team roster, you're gonna have to print it off. So, get your team roster and make sure that all the students have gone into Tim, and which is the youth Tim, their information updated. If you have not, you're gonna have to have and paper of their permission slips, your waivers, and it's just a pain in the butt to travel with. So, emphasize you need to get them in online, and if you need any of that, we can, let you know. We have a couple links on our website that walk them through it. So,
They likely know that it's the youth team information system. So, hoping that your guys' tutorials still work because we send those out to everyone. Because they're excellent.
I think it's pretty close.
Awesome. All right, so does anyone have any questions at all about anything? We have a couple more minutes. Anything at all that you guys want to know between now and then?
Hi, this is 5745, Vicki.
I think it's
I've been looking at the first 30-plus page business plan with SWOT analysis and all. We've been in basically 5 weeks. How are we supposed to write a business plan, business detail that identifies my wealth? Are there extensions for a business plan? We're trying to get it built, and we're just.
you have to do. So leadership as award is something that's completely optional. Our team in our 8 years of existence never applied for that award. Never.
It's a huge undertaking. And so if it were me having to advise you, I would focus on the robot, focus on documenting your rookie experience, focus on, take a look at what it's asked for and use it as a plan for next year, because your business plan, you have to go through a SWOT analysis. You have to go through all the stuff that it is due. And it's due in 2 days, and I'm getting sweaty now because I know that ours is not done, it has not been submitted, and working on it for a while. So, so I would say, finish it off, know what the guidelines are, and maybe have that be your focus for next year, and really pulling your team together as a business. But also, it's going to take what's there and present that to the judges. I mean, if you do submit something, you get judges. This is what we submitted, but, as a new team, this is where we're going. Judges love the fact that you're trying. They love the fact that you're trying. So if you have a, system continuous improvement, that's huge too.
At the end of the year, depending on who your sponsors are, they may ask you for a business plan budget. It might just be how much money did you bring in, how much money did you spend. So it would be your starting point. Or next year is to keep track of the expenses that you guys had and the money that you spent.
So we've had a couple of judges already tell us that they look forward to reviewing our business plan. Seriously.
Yes, and those must be the judges who judge that, because they want people to apply for the award. Ideally, the judges want everyone to apply for every award, right? The people are looking to say, I look forward to seeing what a great robot you're building this year. And judges are saying, I'm looking forward to seeing growing parts this year. It's all about doing what your team can do. Team 2037 preaches a lot. Do it in your means. And building a robot is all that your team can do, and only you do that. Do extend yourself, do not try to do more than what you can do. Or it's because there might be a working team who has 60 students, every of them have nothing to do, so making a business plan is attainable for them. But if you're worried about building a robot, then just worry about building a robot.
Now, I can, on this award, it's not just the business plan, but if any of you applied for FRC grants earlier, you had to submit a business plan anyway. So really, that is something that they're really looking for. You have to, it's in your budget, and you have to do some other things, like a SWOT analysis. They actually want to know what went into your SWOT analysis. If you do this, you know, for the first time, just fill it out the best you can. But again, use that as a sounding board for next year, because it'll be awesome. And next year, what you'll learn from the experience this year is fantastic. But not sweat if you don't have time, because the robot is, you know, the robot's going in circles and you don't know why, and you need it back, because what that robot is saying, there's nothing else you can do. Any other questions?
Lots with team 5712. It looks a total of 6 hours between day and our first competition to work out in 2-hour increments, or 2-hour increments. Is that
That's pretty well in detail last week on bagging. So when you're talking about working on your robot in between competitions, that's what they refer to as unbagging. So in between competitions, you can use hours total of unbagged time, and that may be used within the 7 days prior to the competition that you're signed up to compete in. So, or if you're signed up to participate in a competition that starts on the 7th, you have the 6 days to decide you're going to use your 6 hours. And you do have in 2-hour increments. So go into the rules section, and you're going to look in the section. There's a whole lot in there about bagging between competitions. And it will do exactly what to put it in, how you can use your bag, what you have to do on the lockup form in order to open your bag, what you have to do on the lockup form to close your bag, and all of it.
Just that I think cleans a little bit. I think it's really good. You can do
Yeah. And the total.
Hello.
Yes.
You can only have your robot 3 times. It has to be half-hour increments. That you can use the full amount. So they basically limit how many times you can open it. 3 times in half hours.
But you're gonna look for a maximum of 2 hours.
No, you,
1 6-hour increment.
yep.
If you make sure that 6-hour increment is what you really want to do.
Yeah.
Fine, you know, and then you tinker, but you haven't really done it. So my suggestion is plan out that time so that you know what you're going to do during those hours.
Pretty.
Unlock your robot and discover that you have to replace 8 hours to the machine, or have to order and use or your store to get until you fix it.
Just be cleaning aspect. You should be careful about, because if you do something out of your robot that weighs 10 pounds, to bag everything up again, and you already have 30 pounds withholding, that is illegal technically, because you're 40 pounds outside of the robot. So very careful about that. Don't just open it up for an hour to take something out, to go and then throw it back in the bag. So you gotta make sure you read the rules to know specifically what you're allowed to do. But you can only do it 3 times, and it can be the sum of it 6 hours. And it can only be a week before your competition. So if you eat week 3, you cannot open it until the week 2 of events are started, which is 5 o'clock on Thursday.
Then after petition, we have another 6 hours we can use.
But one thing, another 6 hours can only be where to your second event.
Okay, thank you.
And they count Thursday in that, Clint? 7
Yeah,
days before the Thursday of your competition?
Thursday. Thursday, Thursday, at 5 o'clock when the event, when the other events start, which is 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
650 again, Paul Marisi. You mentioned paperwork in general, but and mentioned the team roster. What work do we need to bring to our first competition?
All you're gonna wanna make sure that you bring is your printed off roster. That's really honestly the only thing that you need to turn in. The team management person goes on your team when you go to register. When you arrive at, you have your team roster in your hand and you go to registration and check you in. When you check in, they'll give you an information packet with a bunch of information in it. And that's the person has to have. The paperwork for the rock person is going to be your bill of materials and your lockup form. The cert can be printed off by your main or alternate contact in the TIM system, Team Information Management System. That says like click roster, view roster in there, and you just print that out and it brings it with you.
This is the 5745. We're having a lot of difficulty with the system. A lot of parents are using computer library work. We have a high federal free and reduced rate of 61%. So, we have people limited resources. And the system's not allowing. I have nothing but calls from parents saying that they're working. And you also don't allow hyphenated hyphen names like Wag Coombs Electrical, that's hyphenated mail. So we can't put that in. So we just can't get our students online.
About how many on your team?
30. Been able to bring it online.
It would be better for you. They do offer a paper version of it. It's a lot more work for you,
Right.
but it may be less work than trying to get the computers in the hands of all the students who need it. For you to have all of your students sign one paper copy, and then just would make like 3 copies of it and have a stack of them for each of them.
And that would be okay to make copies of those.
I don't think it has to be an original signed copy. I'm pretty sure that they'll take a paper copy.
Okay.
Do we have time? All right. You guys have
I have one stupid question.
anything as a stupid
Right.
question?
I was over at another school, and the secretary asked me if we had our pins. I had no talking about pins. I thought she meant like pins or something in the aluminum bars, and she was talking about buttons. Like campaign political buttons. But for teams, can you tell me a little bit about what size they are?
Requirement is one of those things. It's a little thing that a lot of teams create, like pins, buttons. Their team name or their team logo on it or something like that, and bring them out at the competition. So people trade buttons or collect buttons at the competition. It's something that people in FRC have done for years. It's not something that you have to do. Our team used to do it, but it got really expensive and it's a work to make them. So we actually quit doing it and switched to temporary tattoos. Some do like the silicone wristbands to give out. Having away is not something that you have to do. If you're interested in doing it, there's a company called Badge a Minute, BADDAMINIT. I'll stick it in the notes. You can order the material to your buttons. If you button maker machine probably looking at about 1,500 make buttons your first year. It's like I said that we've decided we'll go King Rush, you guys still make buttons, right?
Yeah, we buttons, the kids like doing it, and we come up with different design ideas, and people want to get our buttons. I have no clue why, but it's just one of the things, and I gotta be honest with you, we, for a long time, because if we had kids that had nothing to do, we'd have them make buttons, and that seems to pass by the time, and they had fun doing it, so. Yeah, we're button free. So we have other things just to have some fun. Once we have our business plan, we have to sponsors who send us checks, but they have arrived. We have verbal promises. So, in our business plan, we're going to list our sponsors. Is there some way once this business plan is uploaded by on February 12th, we can change it? No, don't even worry about what sponsors, I mean, that is, the deadline that goes in is the deadline that goes in. But, just know that if something changes, just bring an updated document with you to the competition. And say, we submitted this, but since then we got, more sponsors, we got 20 more this, that, and whatever. So we can print it out an updated copy to bring along. Absolutely, and I would do that. Okay, thank you.
Any other?
I think we're good.
All right, yeah, 15, so I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I got 30 students waiting for me, so. Are you signed in that needs to be put on the attendance record? And
5709.
Brandon, if you got me, 565